You're looking live at Papermaker Stadium here at J.R. Garrett's Middle School, the site for tonight's Fox Valley Association showdown between the visiting and undefeated Neenah Rockets and the one-loss Kimberly Papermakers. Good Friday evening, everyone. It's a little bit chilly. It's October, and we're going down the home stretch of the Wisconsin high school football season, regular season, I should be more specific. And we are proud to bring you yet another USA Today Network Wisconsin digital live stream. I'm Ricardo Arguello, hanging out as always with Brett Christopherson and bringing you those high-definition shots, Jim Rosandick. And we got a good one, BC. As the season kind of unfolded, we kind of knew one team would be here. We didn't quite know about another. But all we know right now, Brett, is this is, for all intents and purposes, for the Fox Valley Association title.
And for Neenah, Ricardo, a chance to win an outright conference championships for the first time since forever for this Rockets program. We'll talk about kind of the potential history that the Neenah football program can make tonight here at Papermaker Stadium. Also, what could be very historic is, when is the last time Kimberly has lost 2 straight games? I can tell you it was 17 years ago.
Wow, okay, that far back,
which is crazy to think about. So can Kimberly bounce back after an upset loss to Fond du Lac last week? Can the Neenah train keep rolling? Ricardo, that Neenah offense, especially that rushing attack, wow. I mean, they're one of the best rushing offenses in the state of Wisconsin, regardless of the division. So that Papermakers defense has its work cut out for it. I'm guessing, though, it's homecoming night. They're going to be fired up to play. Neenah's going to be fired up to play. And I think, Ricardo, that this is going to come down. Much like our game last week, that big Little Chute Freedom game, I think this one comes down to the fourth quarter as well. It's a coin flip game. 2 teams that are very similar that can run the ball. We'll see how that Neenah defense, though, can slow down Seth Myron in that passing attack. He's got some pretty good receivers. So this is going to be a whale of a game, and we'll see what happens when all is said and done. The dust settles. Also, playoff seedings come into play as well tonight. So we'll see how this all factors in, and it's going to be a great high school football game. And despite the little chill in the air, which is preventing me from wearing shorts for the first time in 8 weeks, not too bad. There's no wind, so that shouldn't play a factor at all. The weather shouldn't be a big deal.
It's the battle for FVA supremacy here at Papermaker Stadium. We're a few minutes away from kickoff. What we're going to do is read off some notes, maybe give you a little information on both teams. These notes put together every week so nicely by Brett Christopherson. I'll start off with Kimberly. Brett will follow with Neenah. Now, Kimberly comes in 6-1 overall. They're 4-1 in the Fox Valley Association. They're ranked 6th in this week's Associated Press Large Division State Poll and 5th in Division I in the State Coaches Poll. And they're coming off, as Brett mentioned, that surprising 31-21 loss to Fond du Lac last Friday in the FVA matchup at Fruth Field in Fond du Lac. Now, Kimberly trailed by as much as 24-7 early in the fourth in falling for the first time this season. The Papermakers defense, which has been stout for most of the season, they allowed 431 total yards to the Cardinals. And the Fond du Lac displayed balance in finishing with 214 passing yards and 217 rushing yards. Now, offensively, quarterback Seth Myron, he had a big night with 303 yards and 2 touchdowns on 22 of 27 passing. He hooked up with Jackson Garbish for a 69-yard score and Gavin Tyson on a 14-yard strike. Now, Garbish caught 7 passes for 112 yards. Ethan Kreider, he had 8 catches for 110. Now, Blake Berry, he tallied Kimberly's other touchdown, a 1-yard run, as he went out to rush for 45 yards on 13 attempts. Now, he's coming back, still kind of finding his way back from a leg injury earlier this season. And a normally potent Papermakers rushing attack was held to just 87 yards on 19 carries. And defensively, Ethan Doucette was credited with 12 tackles. Brody Beck finished with 9. Now, when we're looking at the cumulative stuff on the season, Myron has thrown for just over 1,200 yards, but he also has 15 touchdowns while completing just a shade under 74% of his throws. His passing total ranks 3rd in the FVA, and his touchdown total ranks first. He also has 4 interceptions. Now, Barry leads the way in rushing with 630 yards and 11 touchdowns. He's averaging 6.6 yards a carry and 105 yards rushing per game. Tyson's next with 404 yards and 6 touchdowns. He's averaging just under 6 yards a carry. Kreider and Garbish, they're quite the 1-2 punch there at receiver. They're neck and neck in receiving as well. Kreider has 27 catches, 536 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Those are the team highs. His receiving yardage ranks 2nd in the conference. Garbish is next with 26 catches for 408 yards and 5 touchdowns. Now, defensively, Doucette is the Papermakers' top tackler with 60 stops. He also has 3.5 sacks. Sawyer Hanlon has the most sacks with 4, while Jack Stats is it Stats or Stotts?
Stotts.
Yeah, sorry. Is the leader in interceptions with 2. And as a team, Kimberly's average 180.9 passing yards a game. They're allowing 110.4. They're also averaging 185.9 rushing yards per game and allowing 75. So you're looking at the rushing yards and the passing totals. They're also very balanced as well. Kimberly averaging 37.1 points and allowing 12.1. And, boy, they're home in another big one against Kaukauna next Friday in the FAA matchup. That's a big one because I think Kaukauna still fighting for a playoff spot. Kickoff is scheduled for 7 o'clock. Brett, what can you tell me about Neenah?
Neenah, Ricardo, 7-0 overall, 5-0 in the FVA, as you see on our Cellcom, Cooney's Embroidery and Sportswear scoreboard. The Rockets are, Ricardo, ranked 4th in this week's Associated Press Large Division State Poll, 3rd in Division I in the state coaches poll, and they're coming off a 35-17 victory over Kaukauna. That was last Friday in a Fox Valley Association matchup. Down the road at Rocket Stadium in Neenah, that game was close at the half with Neenah leading 21-17, but the Rockets blanked the Ghosts in the second half while also scoring a pair of touchdowns to cement their 7th straight win. Check this out, Ricardo. Neenah once again dominant on the ground. 330 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. They averaged 9.2 yards per carry. How about quarterback Evan Van Evenhoven, the sophomore, continuing to show why, Ricardo, he has emerged as one of the top dual-threat signal callers, I think, in the state, and I think you would agree with that. Finishing with 212 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns, runs of 40 and 60 yards. He also completed all 4 of his passing attempts for 38 yards. How about Jace Jenkins, too? Also a big night with an even 100 yards and 3 TDs, scoring runs of 1, 54, and 6 yards on 13 carries. Grant Dean's 2 receptions led the way. He finished with 19 yards. Defensively, Trevor McGinnis, he was all over the place. 16 total tackles. Dean was next with 10 stops, and don't forget about Darius Jones Jr. He added 8 tackles. On the season, Van Evenhoven has thrown for 606 yards and 6 touchdowns while completing 68% of his throws. He does have 3 interceptions. Jenkins is the Rockets' top rusher with 1,102 yards and 18 TDs. Both are conference highs. He's averaging 7.9 yards per carry and 157.4 yards per game. Van Evenhoven, he's next with 872 yards and 9 touchdowns. He's averaging 9 yards per carry and 124.6 yards per game, and his rushing total ranks 3rd in the league. Grant Dean has also made his presence known as a rusher with 257 yards and 2 scores. Jackson Schloman is the team leader in receptions with 10. He also has a team-high 191 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Dean is next with 8 catches for 129 yards and 2 TDs. McGinnis leads the way in total tackles with 61. He also has a pair of sacks. Jones Jr. is next with 49 stops. Kyle Schultz's 3 sacks tops on the team in that category, while Coy Rajat has a team-best 3 interceptions. Overall, Ricardo, Neenah has intercepted the opposing quarterback 8 times. As a team, Neenah averaging 86.6 passing yards per game, allowing 129.1. The Rockets are also averaging 337.7 rushing yards per game and allowing 129.6. And as we look at the scoreboard, Neenah averaging 37.9 points and allowing 15 a game. And up next for the Rockets, they're at Appleton East next Friday. Fox Valley Association regular season finale. Kickoff is scheduled for 7 p.m.
All right, we're ready for the national anthem, and we'll be back shortly.
Hanging out at Papermaker Stadium, Kimberly, Wisconsin. Boy, Ricardo, I was just thinking during the national anthem, back-to-back games. You think about homecoming night last week at Little Chute for the big rivalry game, Freedom, undefeated teams. We had great viewership numbers, a lot of interest in that one of the top games of the night in the state that wasn't decided till the fourth quarter. The Mustangs pulling that one out to take control of the Northeastern Conference. And then we just hopped the river right on the other side, just a few miles down the road. Another big matchup, Fox Valley Association. Neenah can win this thing. They are the outright conference champs. Kimberly wants to force maybe potentially a share of the conference title. Again, one of the top nights in the state. Homecoming night here. Just back-to-back electric atmospheres. And you know it's kind of this time of year, right? It's getting, as you said, the stretch run, the nitty-gritty.
Yes.
We're getting close to the playoffs, conference championships being decided. Nothing like it.
And while we don't know exactly how much pull a conference championship, because we don't know what the parameters are of the HAL 9000.
There we go. We're going to talk about that again?
Yes, that does somehow figures out the seedings. We don't know how it goes. No one does. You'd figure that a conference championship, a share of one is better than not having one.
Absolutely. We did determine the computer is what was used by NASA to ram into that asteroid. Is that what we figured out?
I think so.
I think so. Hey, quickly a shout-out to our sponsors. First, Cellcom. Don't need unlimited data? Smart data plans from Cellcom offer unlimited talk, text, and 3 gigabytes of data for just $29 per month. Visit cellcom.com/fall for details. And Cooney's Embroidery and Sportswear. Get your team, club, or business name out there with Cooney's. They customize products specifically to fit their customers' needs. Family-owned for 20 years, they have the skills and experience to customize your apparel and spread the word about your organization. Delivery service is available. Contact them today at 920-731-0922. Send them an email, Cooney, COONEYS 0922 at sbcglobal.net. We're all wearing our Cooney's warm
Very
jackets
nice,
tonight,
yes.
right, on a cool October evening.
I am glad that I'm inside the press box.
Well, thanks.
I'm not ready for this.
Thank you, Ryan McGinnis, as always,
Yes.
the athletic director at Kimberly High School. This was kind of a late switcheroo in our original
He's
live stream
very
schedule.
Good to us, Brett.
Yes, he's been fantastic to us, and we appreciate Ryan. He's a busy guy. Didn't really get a chance to talk to him tonight. Athletic directors like Kelly Wallace last week at Little Chute didn't get much of a chance to talk to her. When it's homecoming and all these festivities and everybody's going bonkers, right? Athletic directors and the support staff, they're always pretty busy.
Brett, I had to give you a big thanks as well. You're the one who puts this all together, the scheduling and calling up the ADs and forming those great relationships with the administrations around the valley here so we can get into the press boxes and bring you these great football live streams.
Sometimes a little reshuffling as the season goes on, right?
That's good, though. It's good to be flexible.
Yep, depending on how these games play out. And the IT staffs as well. We appreciate all the work that those folks do to help us get going. Neenah going to kick off. And
Wasco with the kick right.
Watch out.
Picked up at the 30. Brought ahead up to near the 40-yard line.
Number 33, Derek Shaley, I want to say, sophomore. Derek Shalley on the return.
Yeah, and that's where Kimberly will start their first drive of the game. Again, welcome everyone to Papermaker Stadium. Huge Fox Valley Association showdown. Undefeated Neenah visiting the 6-1 Kimberly Papermakers. Ball's right at the 40. We're just underway. Myron gives it off to Barry off the left side.
Got around that edge and still
breaking
on his
tackle.
feet. And he's on his feet still. Didn't go out of bounds. Wow, great run to start this game, Ricardo. Looked like he was going to get dropped a couple of times, but not going down as Blake Berry, the 6', 210-pound senior running back.
We have a treat tonight, Brett. We're seeing two of the top running backs in the Fox Valley. In my opinion, two of the best in the state. They're saying he got out of bounds at the 41 of Neenah, Brett, but that's still a 19-yard gain. And don't forget about Gavin Tyson, the backup to Barry. He's a pretty good running back himself.
Tell you, if you can get that running game going for the Papermakers with Myron's ability to sling it around the football field, could be a pretty big night for this offense. A much better job by that Neenah defense, just a 1-yard gain for Barry, 2nd and 9. Hey, Ricardo, I'm not sure if you know this, but Neenah leads the all-time series, 39, 27, and 2. Kimberly, however, has won 15 straight
Oh, my goodness.
in this
that is
series.
quite the streak.
Neenah's last victory against the Papermakers came all the way back in 2005, a 42-28 Rockets victory in Week 9. 17 years it has been since the Rockets have taken down the Papermakers. Myron, first time, little pump fake, and he's
look out.
He's scrambling now, and why is
Fumble,
that a fumble? Might be a fumble. Let's see what the officials rule. The Rockets bench going bananas on the other side of the field. They think it's a fumble.
And it is Neenah's ball.
It is Neenah's ball. That is a fumble. Ricardo, that play looked odd just from the get-go. I don't know if there was some miscommunication. I know Myron did a little pump fake, but then everything was just blowing up after that. He was scrambling for his life. There was some pressure in the backfield and just kind of slipped out of his hands. And, wow, what a big turn of events here. Look at where the Rockets get to start. 47-yard line.
Brett, I thought Myron held on to that ball way too long. You got to have that clock going in your head to get rid of it. He held it on a bit too long, allowed that pressure to get to him, and it's a turnover. Great field position for the Rockets.
Jenkins, wow, just about broke free. Nice tackle by number 20, Cody Oberman, the junior defensive back. But Ricardo, I have it in my binoculars. Jenkins was bumbling and stumbling with that football for a little bit before he secured it. That thing almost slipped out, so good job by Jenkins to squeeze it down and get a first down on that run.
Well, this Kimberly defense got a huge test. It really was tested last week against Fond du Lac's passing game. Now it's going to get a huge test with this fantastic Neenah run game, Brett.
Oh, the rushing attack. We'll talk about that in a little while, but it's been unstoppable so far, and there's Jenkins again getting a pretty good push from that offensive line along the right side.
And he was very patient with his offensive line. Brett just kind of followed his blockers, didn't want to do too much until he found that opening.
We've seen this, I think, our third or fourth time now seeing the Rockets this season, and I think you and I both have been impressed with the physicality by that offensive line. It's just really become a staple of this team on both sides of the football, just fast, physical, up and down this lineup. Second down for the Rockets. Van Evenhoven now going to tuck in. Ooh.
Breaking tackle.
Yeah, he did. That was a pretty good initial hit by Ethan Doucette, the senior linebacker. But Van Evenhoven, we've been impressed with him, right? The sophomore quarterback, listed at 5'11", 165 pounds. Still was able to get a little bit of a push. Ball's going to be at the 29-yard line. 3rd and 3 coming up for the Rockets.
That's Grant Dean in motion.
Nothing doing there for Jenkins. I'll say that big old number 97 for the Papermakers. Michael Padgett, 6-foot senior defensive lineman, 281 pounds, was kind of able to wrap his arms around Jenkins. No gain on that. 4th and 3 coming up.
Interesting. I think it's in that weird area, where it's too close to punt.
This is definitely the right call at this spot in the field, Ricardo, inside the 30-yard line. And I know Neenah and that coaching staff feel very confident in their defense if the Rockets can't pick this up. Jenkins, he's got stopped.
He got it. Nope.
Good pursuit by the Rockets. Looks like Ricardo Jenkins was stopped about a yard shy. Got an initial push, but those guys in the red jerseys filled those holes up pretty fast and swarming to Jenkins, and that's a big turnover on downs after that Papermaker fumble.
Well, the fumble does not hurt Kimberly, and this is a big little moment. Oh, I would say it's a little momentum swing over to the Papermakers, Brett. Defense coming up big for Kimberly.
So 1st and 10 at the 27-yard line, looks like, as Myron waiting for the snap, and he hands up. Oh, big hole on this. Oh, nice stiff arm by Barry on his feet. Wow, finally took out of bounds in front of that Papermaker bench. But Ricardo, how about that stiff arm to give him some clearance?
And boy, when Darius Jones Jr. looks at that tape tomorrow, whenever they look at the tape, I think he's gonna be a little embarrassed, Brett, because I think Barry put him right to the ground with that stiff arm.
And that doesn't happen very often to a player.
One of their top defenders, proud guy, but that time Barry got the best of him.
So 1st and 10 now at the 46 for the Papermakers.
3 carries, 39 yards already for Barry, Brett.
And we're going to get a timeout.
Timeout, Kimberly.
So Papermakers, Ricardo, seeing something they did not like. Going to burn a timeout. Early timeout gives me a chance to talk about our big digital subscription sale going on right now. $1 for 6 months. You can get unlimited digital access. That includes full access on your desktop, tablet, and mobile devices every day. Exclusive subscriber newsletters. Full access to national reporting with USA Today Sports Plus app. The e-edition. Go to postcrescent.com/subscribe. You can't go wrong. Takes you all the way through the winter high school season as well. If you're into the high school coverage, I know, Ricardo, you have a lot of subscriber-only content.
I do.
So the only way to get that is to sign up for a digital subscription. Hand off right away to Barry. Big hole up the gut.
Yeah.
Still on his feet. And finally brought down Ricardo. Big hole for Barry to just run through.
I'm telling you right now, Neenah's got to be a little worried. He wasn't even touched until he got to the second level, Brett. You don't want that with the guy punishing as a runner as Blake Barry.
Ball at the 37-yard line, 1st and 10.
27-yard gain, Brett. 66 yards on 4 carries.
Already. Watch out, another fumble.
Barry did the right thing.
Yeah, he did. Don't just try to scoop it up, right, and try to make something out of nothing, because that's when you can just fumble it away again. But some sloppiness here by the Papermakers offense on their opening 2 possessions, and that's going to move Kimberly back to the 45-yard line. 2nd, and what are we saying, about 17, 18?
Yeah, Brett, I want to correct myself. That was a 17-yard gain. He has 56 yards on 4 carries. Well, now, actually, 5 carries for 48 yards after that loss.
Another high snap.
Ooh,
good job
boy.
by Myron to bring it down. And Barry, boy, playing physical is Blake Barry tonight. Tough to bring him down on first contact. Again, listed at 6 feet, 210 pounds, senior running back. You said he had a little bit of a leg issue, huh, earlier in the season?
Mm-hmm. And that's where Gavin I mean, I remember talking, with Coach Mike. Why am I always
Michael Wicks.
Michael, I was talking with Coach, and actually he said, if he was a playoff game, he would have played.
Okay.
But they decided just to hold him out. They have a very capable backup.
Yeah.
With Gavin Tyson. He'd start for most other teams in the area.
3rd and 10. It seems like they always have running backs, right? As Myron directing some traffic here and waiting for the snap. Backs up. He's going to swing it over. Little pitch and catch, and still on his feet is number 24, Gavin Tyson, as you said, Ricardo, the junior running back, making one defender miss.
That was a one-read play, Brett, that went right to Tyson, hoping he could make some moves out in the perimeter.
And trying to set up a 4th and more manageable here now that the ball is inside the 35 down to the 33-yard line. So 4th down coming up for Kimberly here. 4th and 6 officially for the Papermakers. And Myron on the run and is going to sling it over wide open.
That's nice. That's a nice concept.
Yeah, that's number 8, Jackson Garbish, the senior wideout, ran a good route. Ricardo Myron just on the rollout and threw a dart to Garbish, 1st down, and what a big pickup that is.
Down to the 18, Brett, so that's a 15-yard gain. But I'll tell you, that looked great and efficient right from the snap. That's the kind of ball that we're used to seeing from the Kimberly offense.
And a way to get your quarterback kind of in a rhythm, right? Somewhat safe throw for Myron, who's waiting for the snap again. Hand off to Barry. Boy, just getting really low and finding that seam. And big chunk runs for Blake Barry so far in this one inside to the 15.
Yeah, to the 13. So they'll take that 5-yard or 6-yard, I should say, 6-yard gains.
Yeah, ball at the 12, 2nd and 4 for Kimberly. And Myron looking, fires, and
Oh, had Coronado.
he did. Abe Coronado, the junior tight end, probably going to look back at that one and say, I should have had it, right?
He was a difficult catch, but I'm sure it's one you're right. Coronado holds himself to a higher standard. I should have had that. But a good route and a good ball from Myron there, Brett.
Curious to see if Kimberly forced into a 4th down, if they'll decide to go for it or try to kick the field goal.
If they run it here, I believe they would go for it.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that's a direct snap to Blake Berry trying to squeeze his
Well,
way. He's got it.
Down, yeah.
Down to the 5. Boy, talk about being patient. Looked like there was a couple times where maybe there was nothing there, and he just kind of waited for that block to open up just enough, and you see how low he gets. He's tough to wrap up and bring down tonight. First and goal at the 5.
I have Berry already, 8 carries, 69 yards. So first down, goal to goal at the 5. We hear some stomping going on upstairs, but I think that might be the Neenah defensive coaches.
Well, just as long as this press box holds up, right? Yeah, direct snap looking again for Berry, looking for a seam, and let's see if he's in. 5-yard touchdown run for Blake Berry. First score of the game goes to Kimberly after the turnover on downs. Hunter Berry in for the PAT. And it sails through. And we look at our Cellcom and Cooney's Embroidery Sportswear scoreboard. Kimberly up 7-0 after the 5-yard touchdown run by Blake Berry. Kind of an interesting sequence really to start this game. Kimberly opens the game with the ball, fumbles it away, gives Neenah really good field position around midfield. And then, Neenah, I should say, near midfield. And then the Rockets kind of on the move. But the Kimberly Papermaker defense, Ricardo, rising to the occasion and forcing the turnover on downs. And then Neenah, or I should say Kimberly, turns that into a real methodical touchdown drive that ends with the 5-yard score. So what looked like maybe some momentum, early momentum, tilting towards the Rockets, now quickly shifting back to Kimberly, who gets on the scoreboard first in this big Fox Valley Association game. It's always funny how these games work, momentum works. You know, it's real interesting. I got a great note that's going to be now different here, but a great note from Jim Strick, our friend. He's the communications director for the Neenah Joint School District. I'll tell you about it here in a second. And kickoff just going to bounce, and they'll pounce on it, and that Rocket offense will come out. Now, prior to tonight, Neenah has trailed for just a total of 22 seconds this entire season. Oshkosh North scored on its opening drive, missed the extra point for a 6-0 lead in Week 6. Neenah then scored on its very first play, a 65-yard touchdown run by Evan Van Evenhoven for a 7-6 lead. Never trailed again in beating the Spartans 42-20. So rarity for the Rockets. Only 22 seconds now. They have only trailed 22 seconds this entire season until this drive. And Van Evenhoven looking for some space, and wow, he wrapped it. Wow! Ethan Doucette, the senior linebacker, wrapping up the quarterback. You can see, looks like number 2, Jace Jenkins, kind of his arm out, maybe wanting a penalty flag because Doucette grabbed the quarterback and put him in a little bit of a spin move there to bring him down. Forward progress gives him a couple yards on that run. Really says something for this Neenah team, though, to only trail 22 seconds going into Week 8.
That's an amazing stat and very nice. Was it Strick?
Jim Strick,
yes,
yeah.
For coming up with that stat. We didn't come up with it. He researched it, I should say.
Jenkins, that's bottled up, bounces it to the outside. Tough to bring down. Third down coming up.
We're seeing two of the hardest runners
Oh, boy, I
in
guess.
the FBA. And another one that always also comes to mind is Hoffman from Kakana.
Sensational.
Eigenbrot is also very good from Fond du Lac.
We saw Noah Hoffman a couple weeks ago put up almost 300 yards on the ground against Fond du Lac. Third down, ball at the 32-yard line for the Rockets. 3rd and 2 officially. This is a big moment right here.
It is. I feel like they have to answer here, Brett.
Well, you got Jace Jenkins, this big offensive line, and a dual-threat quarterback who's going to keep it, slips down, and does not get it. He stopped for maybe a yard. Let's see where they'd spot the football.
It's at the 33.
4th and a short yard, but looks like that Rocket punt unit coming out. And a 3-and-out by this Kimberly defense. 2 big stops so far defensively for the Papermakers.
Well, the Papermakers defense is. They're rising to the challenge, Brett. I think they're probably a little embarrassed from what happened last
Whoa,
week. And look out.
high snap, watch out.
He's going to have to kick that and get it away.
And he had a lot of space, though, to work with. Good job by Jones Jr. just to get rid of it on the high snap. But look at where this field position will be for the Papermakers. We're going to spot the football right at the 38-yard line of Neenah.
Well, we've seen a few high snaps tonight, Brett, from both teams. Myron, the fumble. I'm sorry, on a few during that drive that included the fumble.
Well, one thing to think about, too, really the first cold night of the season, right? So ball gets a little bit more slipperier, if that's a word, is Barry. Wow, another stiff arm on his feet, looking for the end zone. If he can get there, cuts back, inside the 10.
Again, another stiff arm, Brett. That time he put Grant Dean right to the ground.
To the 8, 1st and goal. That big offensive line doing some work tonight too, Ricardo, getting off on the snap. Creating some nice lanes for Blake Berry in this Kimberly rushing attack. Myron to Berry, looking for the end zone. Gets to about the 5, maybe the 4-yard line. 2nd down coming up.
Barry has 107 yards on 11 carries, Brett. Correction, 108. Gave him up to the 4-yard line.
108 yards already in the first quarter.
Yes, sir.
2nd and goal at the 4-yard line. Myron waiting for it again. He's going to hand off. Barry's looking for the end zone. It's going to be close. I think he's just going to be shy of the goal line. And that might be how the first quarter comes to a close. What started out, Ricardo, as maybe momentum for the Rockets really turned into a dominant first quarter for the for the Papermakers, who will start the second quarter with a 3rd and goal from the 1. 7-0. Papermakers with the lead through the opening quarters. We look at our Cellcom and Cooney's Embroidery Sportswear scoreboard. Hey, by the way, the last time, as I mentioned, the Papermakers have lost back-to-back games. That was 17 years ago, back in the 05 season. Kimberly closed out that season with 4 straight setbacks to finish 4-5 overall. And it was Neenah who happened to hand Kimberly its 4th straight loss. As I mentioned, that's the last time the Rockets beat the Papermakers, was back in 05. 15 straight Kimberly wins later.
Brett, that was so long ago. That was a year before I came to the Post Crescent.
Was that? I was trying to think when you came to the Post Crescent.
I came in 2006, the summer of 2006.
You know, the last time a Kimberly team did not win a conference championship was 2012 when it competed in the Valley Football Association North Division. Appleton North won it that year. We're not counting the 2021 alternate.
Let's erase that from the memory.
Whatever that was called. It was fun.
Except for that great Fond du Lac team.
Yeah, they were sensational. But Kimberly Wynn puts it in position to potentially share for the conference championship. Barry again from the 1. Darius Jones Jr. coming from the backside, bringing down Barry. What a tackle by Jones Jr., Ricardo.
Is that no gain? Is what they're
No
marking?
gain. 4th and goal from the 1. Boy, Jones Jr. just streaking through and bringing down Barry.
Well, I'll tell you, if this Neenah defense can force a turnover on downs at the 1, that's the momentum swing that you're hoping for if you're a Rockets fan.
Well, here we go. 4th and goal. Blake Barry, the quarterback. He's got it, looking for some space, looking for a push, and he's in from the 1 yard. Touchdown run. Wow. It took a little push, Ricardo, but Barry got his way into the end zone for his 2nd rushing touchdown of the night. Piece of cake for Hunter Barry on the PAT. And look at this as we take another look at our Cellcom and Cooney's Embroidery and Sportswear scoreboard. A pair of Blake Barry touchdown runs, the latest from a yard out. Kimberly on top, 14-0, early 2nd quarter.
Just updating my Twitter account. You can follow me at Ricardo DeLeon. DeLeon, spelled D-E-L-I-A-N. Don't forget about Brett at PC Brettsy and Rosie at Meadow Rosie. Hey, Brett, early score from Fond du Lac Appleton North from our buddy Dan Cohn. 7-0 Fond du Lac.
Really?
In the 1st quarter, yes.
Boy, is Fond du Lac going to start to heat up now suddenly?
Well, that's the team we felt kind of underperformed for the first part of the season. Now that maybe this is the time they're hitting their stride.
Well, doing that against an outstanding Appleton North defense. What, 4 shutouts already on the season so far for the Lightning?
It won't be a 5th tonight.
It won't be a 5th tonight is right. Well, we'll see how the Rockets respond. They need a drive here, don't they? They need to get that running attack going. Jace Jenkins, Evan Van Evenhoven.
Well,
all Kimberly so far.
Brett, they've ran 8 plays all game, offensively, not counting punts. So they need to get something going and get a sustained drive to give their defense a little bit of a rest.
That's Dean from the 5. He's got great speed, looking to get something going in that special teams department. Gets to about the 25-yard line. Yeah, Neenah 7-0 at Ricardo for the first time since 1999.
Flag Brett as well.
Looks like that's going to come back. Going to be against Neenah, at least the way Kimberly's responding to it, right? All pointing in Neenah's direction. But yeah, 7-0 the Rockets for the first time. What is it? What happened? Are they saying it's a fumble?
Holding. Decline. And it is a fumble.
Wow. I didn't even see the ball come out, Ricardo.
This is if you're a Neenah fan, this is a disastrous start to this game.
Oh, no kidding. Did not see the ball squirt out at all. I was watching through my binoculars, saw Dean go down, and so they weren't saying it was penalty against Neenah. They were saying they had the ball. That's why they were pointing that way.
Well, there was a penalty as well.
So look at this, turnover in great field position. Myron's going to take a shot at the end zone, looking for his receiver. That was Jackson Garbish, incomplete pass. Too many bodies in the way for me to see the ball. I don't know if even folks in front of us, the fans, it was kind of a surprise call there. Fumble on the kickoff return, so 2nd and 10 now. Kimberly on the Neenah 25. Handoff to Barry. And brought down by number 24, Trevor McGinnis, the very talented senior outside linebacker for Neenah, so a big third down and 9 coming up for the Papermakers at the 24.
Yeah, that defense needs to hold here, Brett. At least limit to a field goal, if that, because last thing you want is to be down 21-0 this quickly into the game.
Myron's got some time. Going to fire and wide open on the sideline, near sideline. That's Garbish again, first down. That was a nice throw. He had a lot of time. Looked at his receiver, who he wanted to go to, and Garbish ran a nice route. And he really stepped and threw a dart to Garbish on this near side ball at the 13-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Papermakers on the move again after the turnover.
Myron very accurate. That's one of the things he has done well this season. He's been a very accurate passer.
Close to 80% completion percentage for Myron. Yeah, that big game last week against Fond du Lac. Garbish, one of his favorite targets. Ethan Kreider also. Blake Berry going to take it this time. And finally stood up by Dean. Boy, that's a pretty good collision there.
Where's that ball? At the 12? No, at the 7. Yes.
2nd down coming up. Hey, there's the Papermaker mascot.
Ha!
You see that she's being, or it's being escorted by somebody in a bee suit.
Okay.
I like seeing those mascots,
Beekeeper,
right?
yeah.
The beekeeper, yeah, I couldn't think of it. I don't like bees. I'm allergic to them. Keep them away from me.
Good camera job, Rosie.
There's Barry on the direct snap again, kind of that wildcat look. Boy, a whole bunch of Rockets defenders there. Look like number 24, Trevor McGinnis, and number 66, Eric Schaufelberger, the senior defensive lineman, in on that. So 3rd down coming up, ball at the 9. Neenah needs a stop. I feel like even holding the Papermakers to a field goal would be a small victory for this Neenah team that's, I think, a bit rattled here to start this game. And Myron, he's wide open in the back of the end zone. Got a little turned around. Was that Blake Berry? And now what do you do?
Oh, you got to go over the field goal. But, Brett, I think Myron wants that pass back. I think he felt he probably could have thrown a little better ball. But, hey, you got to give credit to Neenah's defense, Brett.
That was a tougher throw than I think maybe I even realized. Myron had to kind of rainbow at over a couple of defenders and got Barry a little bit turned around. Hunter Barry on to attempt a 26-yard field goal here. Ooh, high snap. Good job by the holder to get that one down, and Barry is good from 26 yards out.
Fond du Lac Appleton North 7-0 Fond du Lac after a quarter. Fondy just blocked a punt. That's our buddy Dan Cohn who's covering that game for us.
17-0. The Papermakers now with a 3-score lead as we look at our Cellcom Coonies embroidery and sportswear scoreboard. We're going to be back at it next Friday night, Week 9. We're going down to J.J. Keller Field at Titan Stadium, Ricardo. We're going to be in Oshkosh as the Oshkosh North Spartans host Appleton North. Fox Valley Association matchup. Live coverage will kick off at 6:45 p.m. You can access our previous Game of the Week live streams on our USA Today Network Wisconsin websites. Just go to the sports section and scroll down until you see the Watch Our Varsity Game of the Week Prep live streams link. Kind of looking at the most points Neenah's given up this season is 20, and that was Week 4 against Fond du Lac, a 38-20 Rockets victory over the Cardinals. Not really what I was expecting here from this one. I was expecting a heavyweight battle, duking it out. These two great teams as Dean takes it from about the 7, looking for a space. Watch out, he's got
Flag.
the wheels. Flag coming. Did you see a flag?
Thought I saw a flag come down.
Let's see.
Did I see one in the back?
And there is a flag on the play. Wow.
That's going to take away a pretty nice return, Brett.
You can see the frustration on some of the Rockets right now, needing some sort of a spark, down 17-0.
Again, they've ran 8 offensive plays all game, Brett. And right now, listen, the strength of the team is obviously the run game. And this isn't a criticism of Van Evenhoven, but I've said they haven't really had to use their passing game. Now you're in a situation where you're going to have to – that's going to have to be a major factor in this comeback. You're down 17-0. Not that they don't have to get away from with Jace Jenkins. He's so talented, but the passing game needs to be a prominent feature now when you're down 3 scores.
Well, we'll see how the Rockets respond to being down 17-0. If they'll turn to the air here a little bit, ball's going to be marked at the 20-yard line. Van Evenhoven, 606 yards and 6 touchdowns. He's completed 68% of his throws, all coming into tonight, those stats. And a rare offensive look for the Rockets as Jenkins dives past the 25-yard line. There's a big moment right here, Ricardo. The Rockets need to put something together. 2nd and 5 at the 25.
6 carries, 28 yards for Jenkins. 2nd down and 5 from the 25 for the Rockets.
And Jenkins has it again. Nice little spin move, and he's got the first down.
Boy, it's like every run there's a chance it goes the distance. He's that dangerous.
Yeah, kind of one tackle away from sprinting his way to the end zone. Jace Jenkins, he enters tonight's action ranked 8th in the state in all divisions in rushing, 1,102 yards coming into tonight. His rushing total of 18, that's tied for the 5th most in the state. You look at the team rushing totals, Ricardo. Neenah ranked 5th coming in all divisions in the state. 2,364 yards. The Rockets with 30 rushing touchdowns. And all of that has just been stymied so far tonight. And Van Evenhoven, boy, it really feels like Kimberly's really focused on number 10 right now, right, for the Rockets. Van Evenhoven's such a talented dual-threat quarterback, does so much damage with his legs. But there's just not a whole lot of space for him to do what we've seen him do all season. And credit that Kimberly defense.
Brad, Fond du Lac up 13-0 over Appleton North. Remember, Fond du Lac still needs a win to get into the playoffs to automatically qualify. They're 3-2 in the FVA. They're playing like a team in a corner.
Could be kind of a bigger game than maybe even we anticipate next week for that Appleton North Oshkosh North game. I think the Lightning are in though, right?
Well, I think they're 3-2 as well.
There's Van Evenhoven. He thought about it. Now he's going to take off. And that was a good little fake. As there you can see that speed by Van Evenhoven. I don't know if that was if he wanted to throw the ball downfield and realize I'm going to bail and I see an opening, or if that was just the design to kind of throw that Kimberly defense off. But nice run by Van Evenhoven. Big first down there. 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line.
Wonder when they're going to showcase Grant Dean a little bit. Maybe on one of those reverses, jet sweeps, or something like that.
Option play.
Yeah,
we've seen that a couple times, too, in our streams.
Get him in space.
There's Dean right now moving, but handoff is to Jenkins, who's kind of moving that pile close to the 45-yard line. Big crowd here at Papermaker Stadium, a standing room only, really. You can see the folks kind of standing along that fence line, homecoming night. What happened to scheduling like easy opponents on homecoming? That was the same with Little Chute last week, taking on Freedom.
Yeah, usually you kind of schedule the tomato cans a little bit, right? I mean, that's usually the way it goes for an easy win. But no, you gotta give them credit though, Brett. There, Kimberly doesn't mess around. Neither does was last year. Or last week it was Little Chute scheduling their arch rival.
Adds a little bit more juice to the game as Van Evenhoven, good run and finding something on that right side, tucking that ball in tight. And now that Rockets rushing attack starting to maybe get into a little bit of a rhythm here. Ball at the 44-yard line.
Yeah, 7-yard gain for Van Evenhoven. This is a nice drive put together by the Rockets, something they sorely needed.
Neenah victory tonight, as I mentioned, first outright FVA championship, Ricardo, if somehow the Rockets can rally. Hasn't been done since 1987. I was in high school then.
Good year.
A long time ago. Van Evenhoven. And that's a nice little pitch and catch to one of his favorite targets, senior Jackson Schloman. Jackson, a member of the boys basketball team, right? That won the state championship. He's not used to losing too much, is he?
No.
A lot of victories for Schloman.
Another good team for the Rockets this year, defending state champs.
That's right around the corner, not too much longer, and they'll be wheeling out the basketballs and sweeping the gym floors and getting ready for another basketball season. Boy, that should be some pretty good hoops, boys and girls in the FVA and all through Northeast Wisconsin. There's Dean Ricardo. And his first touch, he wants a face mask. He's looking at the official.
There is a flag
I see
down.
a flag down as well. Officials talking it over, thinking, well, let's see. I thought maybe that it was going to be a face mask, and it is a face mask call against
5-yard variety.
Yep, the Papermakers. So tack on 5 more yards for Neenah. Ball will be at the 27-yard line, 1st and 10.
Hey, Rockets need a break any way they can get it. They definitely need to score here, Brett. Touchdown preferred.
That would calm some things down here a little bit, right? If the Rockets could somehow punch one in, clock running down to 4 minutes remaining in the half here. Van Evenhoven, wow, nowhere for Jace Jenkins to go. That was number 90, Sawyer Hanlon, the sophomore defensive lineman getting in there in the backfield. 6'1", 210 pounds. Hanlon, Ricardo, showing his quickness to bring down Jenkins for a 2-yard loss. 2nd and 12 for the Rockets at the 29-yard line.
Just a sophomore. That's a big play by the young kid. Now you're in these longer kind of situations, Brett. 2nd and 12.
I think you're right about Dean. Let's kind of mix him in a little bit more, right? He's a
Get him in
dynamic
space.
athlete.
He's,
yeah,
one of the top athletes in the FVA.
Dean in the slot, and
it's it looks to be a false start. Is that?
And it is. Pre-snap stuff, right? Legal shift. That'll march the Rockets back 5 more yards. So now going the wrong way if you're a Neenah fan, ball at the 34-yard line. 2nd and 17 is what they're calling it. Under 3 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Rockets running to the line of scrimmage after they broke the huddle, and Van Evenhoven waiting for it, and now he's going to drop back to pass. He's going to go rainbow one, and just not much there. Looked like he was looking for Dean, Ricardo, but he was heavily covered. And Van Evenhoven just kind of lets that one sail over Dean's head. 3rd down coming up.
Good, welcome to Papermaker Stadium. FVA showdown between the visiting Neenah Rockets and the host Kimberly Papermakers. We're here at J.R. Garrett's Middle School, Brett.
It is. Used to be the high school.
It did.
Way back when, right?
Absolutely.
So 3rd down coming up. What's in the playbook here for Van Evenhoven and the Rockets? 3rd and a long way to go. And Van Evenhoven, whoa, nice little stutter move. And wow, brought down hard by number 3, Jack Stotts, the senior defensive back.
He's playing a spy position on him. Brett able to come up right away and stop.
That's the focus of this defense, isn't it, right now? They're not going to let Evan Van Evenhoven burn them. I think they're willing to let Jenkins maybe get a few things here and there, but they are not going to let Evan Van Evenhoven get free because he is so dangerous. Papermakers now burning a timeout, trying to preserve some time here in 4th down. looking to potentially get the ball back. 4th and 11 coming up after this timeout.
Brett, 13-7, Fond du Lac now leading Appleton North. So the Lightning on the board. That's in the second quarter.
Again, don't forget about that deal on a digital subscription, unlimited digital access, $1 for 6 months. Please, folks, sign up for that right now, postcrescent.com/subscribe. Any of our USA Today Network Wisconsin websites /subscribe. For instance, the Oshkosh Northwestern.com/subscribe. Get a whole lot of great content. A lot of Ricardo's content is subscriber only. If you're a high school sports fan, that 6-month digital subscription will take you all the way through the winter sports season. So please sign up. If not right now, then at halftime. How about that, Ricardo?
That's good for me.
4th and 11 for the Rockets. Van Evenhoven waiting for it. He's clapping his hands, clapping them again. And that's what they're going to do. So I think must be a pooch punt coming maybe, or what are they going to try?
I would have taken the penalty to give your puncher a little more space.
I think the Rockets have burned a timeout.
They did. Again, I'm Ricardo Arguello. He's Brett Christopherson, part of USA Today Network Wisconsin. And bringing you those high-definition shots, our buddy Jim Rosandick.
He's in the next booth.
Yeah, but he's not outside. That's good. A warm Rosie is a content Rosie.
I think the only time Rosie's been outside was when we did Kimberly at Spash in week 1, and it was a kind of a rainy night at Gerke. He insisted on being on top of the press box
That's
that night.
because he loves a rainy night. He's like Eddie Rabbit. People who aren't over 40 are like, who's that?
Who's Eddie Rabbit? 4th and 11 again. Van Evenhoven, little play fake. Oh, he's nowhere to go. Nowhere to go, and that's big old number 99 again. Sam McGivern, the junior defensive lineman, coming in the backfield. Van Evenhoven had no chance, Ricardo. Turnover on downs, and that's a very fired-up Kimberly defense right now as they come to the sideline. Awfully impressive performance by that Papermaker defense so far.
Yeah, they're fired up. And they took it on the chin last week, Brett, against Schreider and the Fond du Lac Cardinals. You don't think they wanted some redemption?
Maybe an ornery week of practice,
ornery. Certainly playing like it.
1st and 10 at the 35 now. Plenty of time for the Papermakers to put some more points on the board. And good job by the Rockets to stop Jenkins. Looks like no gain there. Second and 10. You kind of have a feeling that Myron's going to drop back, try to find one of his targets. Number 8, Jackson Garbish. Number 10, Ethan Kreider, 2 guys that he likes to throw to. Let's see what the Papermakers do here on 2nd down. Myron looking to his left, and he's going to fire it, and there is Garbish. Wide open, ball at the 50-yard line.
Nice throw, nice catch. To the 50-yard line, 15-yard gain, Brett.
Kind of good trusting your offensive line to block along that right side, because as Myron drops back, he's looking to his left. Back is to the right side of that line, and trusting that there's not going to be a rocket there to come and bring him down. So ball right at the 50-yard line, and clock ticking again. And Myron going to rainbow one, looking for Garbish again, just past the fingertips, 2nd and down. Just missing that connection.
And nothing wrong with taking a deep shot, Brett. Myron certainly has the arm for it.
54 seconds to play as we look at our Cellcom and Cooney's Embroidery Sportswear scoreboard. Cool night, but no wind. Actually, it wasn't too bad of a fall day today. Thought it was going to be a little bit more rainy, but not so much as watch out. Oh, Barry and Dean with a collision there.
Dean took a shot, and he
held his own,
yes,
didn't he?
He did. Boy, when you have him running full speed at you. Whew.
9-yard pickup and quickly to the line. And, Papermakers want to try to preserve some time here. Both teams now with a timeout remaining.
Berry with a nice first half, 19 carries, 126 yards, and the 2 scores.
Mentioned Neenah coming in, eyeing its first outright FVA title since '87. The last time the Rockets won a league title in general was 2017 when they shared the Valley Football Association South Championship with Fond du Lac. The last FVA title for Neenah came in 1999 when it shared the crown with Oshkosh North, which was coached by current Rockets assistant Steve Jorgensen.
Hey, Brett, Little shoot up over Wrightstown, 14-0. Quarterback keeper Vandenberg, 2 yards out, was the latest score for the Mustangs.
You know, I'm not overly surprised by that because I know that Freedom really hammered Wrightstown a few weeks earlier, and then with the Little Shoot taking down Freedom last week, I thought that the Mustangs should be favored in that one.
And the Tigers run the ball, so they're not really a comeback kind of team.
No, not at all. And that Ricardo, I think we both agree that's a nice-looking Mustangs defense, a team that could make a run in Division IV. Speaking of running, nowhere for
Neenah
Blake Berry.
Defense really coming through.
Yeah, bottling up Berry. And clock continuing to run, thinking maybe Chad Michaelwitz in no rush here, up 3 scores, and they don't have to do anything.
Brett, let me tell you, Neenah's done a much better job of corralling Berry. Berry came into the quarter, 12 carries, 111 yards. This quarter, he has 8 carries for 15.
Well, let's see if the Papermakers can get one snapped, and no. A little too late for the Papermakers to get one more play off here before the first half comes to a close. But what a half it was. Pretty impressive performance offensively, defensively, special teams, limiting the mistakes. And as you can see by looking at our Cellcom and Cooney's Embroidery Sportswear scoreboard, 17-0 Papermakers with the lead. Both teams retreating to their respective end zones to talk things over. We'll talk more about tonight's game and what we have coming up digitally at USA Today Network Wisconsin after this short break.
From the top of the 222 building on College Avenue in downtown Appleton, it's Varsity Roundtable. Ladies and gentlemen, Ricardo Arguello.
Live from a secret location somewhere in northeast Wisconsin, it's Clubhouse Live. We'll look back on how the Packers fared, we'll talk football, we'll take a peek at what's next on the schedule, and we'll have our usual fun too. We're ready. Are you ready? It's time to get started. Let's open the doors and welcome to Clubhouse Live!
Welcome back to Papermaker Stadium here. I always want to say Kimberly High School, but
It's not.
it's J.R. Garrett's middle school, right? JRG. Close enough to the high school, though, as we look at our Cellcom and Cooney's embroidery and sportswear scoreboard. The Papermakers on top, 17-0 over the Rockets in this big Fox Valley Association Week 8 matchup. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, Cellcom. Don't need unlimited data. Smart data plans from Cellcom offer unlimited talk, text, and 3 gigabytes of data for just $29 per month. Visit cellcom.com/fall for details. And Cooney's embroidery and sportswear, they have the skills and experience to customize your apparel and spread the word about your organization. Contact them today at 920-731-0922. You can always also send them an email at Cooney, COONEYS 0922 at sbcglobal.net. Also want to give a quick shout-out, Ricardo, to our USA Today Sports Plus. That's the new sports app that puts the fans first. Get the latest scores, stats, and standings, and enjoy interactive experiences with our award-winning sports writers. Download USA Today Sports Plus from the Apple or Google Play stores today. USA Today Sports Plus. Fan harder. And, Ricardo, I know you're always busy at halftime scouring Twitter and checking out some scores. You have any updates on anything?
Well, Reedsville-Hilbert, that's kind of a big one over in the Big East. 14-14 tie. We talked about Fond du Lac trailing or leading, Appleton North 13-7. Trying to get a later score from Dan Cohen on that. And then obviously we had the Wrightstown Freedom score, or Wrightstown Little Chute score, with Little Chute leading in that one as well, Brett. See if I can. If you have any scores out there listening, go ahead and send me them. I'm at Ricardo DeLeon on Twitter, RICARDODELIAN. Or send them to Brett, too, actually. His name's a little easier to remember, PC Brettsy.
You used to have an easy one to remember, but then you started selling Xboxes or whatever that was. I don't
Got
know
hacked, baby.
what that was all about. FBL Luxembourg Casco, that's also an interesting one in the Northeastern Conference. Fox is 5-2 coming in. Luxembourg Casco 4-3. Ricardo, if Little Chute beats Wrightstown tonight, Mustangs are the outright Northeastern Conference champs. I think the last time Little Chute won was 2018. Remember that team had Noah Miller at quarterback, Isaac Van Derzen running back, and Jake Lilge, a really talented team that took it all the way to the state semifinals. So we'll see what the Mustangs can do if the Wrightstown Tigers can make a comeback. Some other FBA games. I haven't heard anything about Appleton East at Kaukauna yet, I don't think. And then, of course, we got Fond du Lac and Appleton North, and Oshkosh West at Oshkosh.
Oshkosh North was leading that one from last I saw.
West and North. Technically, it's a home game for the Spartans, but they both play at Titan Stadium. So, yeah, there's a lot to get to here tonight, a lot going on in Week 8. Ricardo, I can't believe it's Week 8 already.
Yeah, we're talking about where we are in terms of after 7 weeks in the high school prep football season. We went in depth and kind of talked about some of the top teams and things like that, because there's a little bit of a shakeup, obviously, with Kimberly losing. Neenah became the number one ranked team, and then with Little Chute's win over Freedom, Little Chute became the number one small school team. So you can catch all that on our podcast, Brett, the R&B Show. Look for it on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play. Just look for R&B Show. My name, Ricardo Arguello, and you should come on. You should be able to bring all the episodes up as well as the latest one. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment if you want as well. We always welcome feedback, good or bad. I hope it's bad. Just make sure it's directed toward Brett.
Yeah, right. I love that.
But also, don't forget about the Varsity Roundtable, Brett. We had the Xavier girls volleyball team on Wednesday. Good show. It's every Wednesday at 7. And we have Appleton North girls volleyball on next Wednesday.
That's happening.
They've been geeked to be on for a while,
Good.
and we're going to have them on. Hopefully going to try to get – I'm not sure in terms of the cross-country if we can get some folks on. I'm going to be in talks to see if we can – they'd have to be whole teams, though, because we like having a studio audience, Brett.
Right.
So we'll see what we can kind of pull together in that way. And we other than Freedom Football, we got to get some football teams on there as well. But the guys, Brett, they're too cool, man. Yep. A lot of times they don't like bringing the whole team or a lot of guys because they're too busy playing Halo or something. I don't know.
Well, just wait till we get into playoffs, right? It's kind of good to use the roundtable to get some of these other sports.
That's a good point.
Showcase, because we do these high school football streams every week. But boy, some really good volleyball players and teams here in the Northeast Wisconsin, particularly in the Fox Valley Association Northeastern Conference as well. The Bay, right, with Xavier, as you mentioned, being as good as the Hawks are this year. some really good boys teams as well. And cross country. This is a hotbed for some really good cross country talent as well.
We do have great cross country talent.
And we got to be getting close to conference race times, right? I mean, it's got to be getting close to the end of the season.
October 29th, Brett.
Is that state?
Is state over at Wisconsin Rapids, and I say this because, me and Mike Sherry, I think Dan Cohn's coming with us to go cover all our area runners. That should be a great time. And not only that, Brett, on the way back, we hit up Bill's Pizza.
There you go.
Not a sponsor, but they might as well be. And we're all geeked about that, having some pizza after a long day covering state cross country.
Well, I was talking a little bit about Bill's on social media today. Somebody was claiming a pizza place in Wausau was the best pizza they've ever had, kind of thin crust stuff. And then he was asking anywhere else I should go. Well, I'm going to say Bill's Pizza in Stevens Point. That's my hometown.
I'll tell you what, that pizza did look pretty good that guy featured.
It did.
Yeah, but you're right. Bill's, in terms of a cracker cross, you ain't going to get any better. By the way, I'm not trying to slam West End Pizza. West End Pizza, a buddy of mine, a friend of mine actually, family friend of mine, he said, go to West End Pizza. It's kind of similar to Bill's. No, it's not.
Yeah, it's tough. Bill's is the legend, right? And
it was okay, but it wasn't Bill's.
You got thrown a little Italian beef sandwich, one of those legendary beef sandwiches.
Those are good. Last time I was there, I got one, Brett.
Can't go wrong on those.
No, it was good.
You can't go wrong on those.
And big. We got the
senior beef.
Is it the senior beef?
Yep.
Because there's the junior one.
Yep.
And me and my son enjoyed. He loved it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We got to get to Stevens Point soon and have ourselves a little snack. Maybe we can stream a Spash game at some point again.
And not to trumpet the central area part of the area, we had a nice cone over at King Cone. Is that it? The one over, where is that? That's in Weston maybe? No. It's in, I don't know where it is. It's like south of Point. I don't know where that is.
Might be in Plover.
Plover maybe,
potentially.
yes.
You should have gone to Belts.
King
Belts
Cone.
is where you want to go.
Never heard of it.
Belts? You've never heard of Belts?
No.
Wow, that's legendary stuff. Hey, speaking of legendary, our guy Dan Powers, I see him over there by about the 20-yard line, north end zone or north side of the field. He's going to be putting together a real nice photo gallery later tonight, so check it out on postcrescent.com. He's going to have all the action from the big game. And Dan's one of the production crew members of our weekly Packer show Mondays at 6:30. It's called Clubhouse Live. It's season number 14 for us. If you haven't watched it or ever been to a show, shame on you. We think it's the best Packers show around, and quite frankly, the guys do too. I think they have a good time. It takes place at the Clubhouse Kitchen and Bar inside the Hilton Appleton Paper Valley Hotel, downtown Appleton, Wisconsin. Doors open at 4. Admission is free, so come on in, take a look. We're doing dual co-hosts this year. We have Packers All-Pro linebacker Devondre Campbell and Packers return man / wide receiver Amari Rogers. So they've been great. We just had Devondre Campbell, and then they all bring in teammate guests. He had Aaron Jones on Monday night, Showtime, at a packed house, and you want to check that out if you can. Now this coming Monday, a little change of pace for us because obviously the guys are in London right now, and with the big Sunday game at London Sunday morning, 8:30 a.m. kickoff. Probably going to be a little bit jet lagged to try to get him on the show Monday night. So filling in for us, I think this was a treat for Packer fans. Packers Hall of Famer, former Pro Bowl and All-Pro quarterback, the Magic Man, Don Majkowski is going to be hanging out with us again. Doors open at 4 o'clock.
Over the line.
Admission is free. We'll talk about that and that famous touchdown throw he had to Sterling Sharp to beat the Bears in 1989, Ricardo's Bears. That's going to be a fun show.
Magic was over the line. Coach Ditka proclaimed it. He was over the line.
Magic was a huge fan favorite back in the day, and everybody still, how Packer fans are. Once you're a fan favorite, they never forget you. So I think we're going to have a good time with Don Majkowski in studio with us. And again, you can check it out. We give away some prizes as well, some autographed items. If you can't make it to the clubhouse in person, you can always watch it live online on any of our USA Today Network Wisconsin websites, Facebook pages, our USA Today Network Wisconsin YouTube channel, PackersNews.com, right? Facebook.com/PackersNews. There's a multitude of ways to find the show. And you can always give our Facebook page like Facebook.com/Clubhouse Live. But we're off and running. We're having a good time with Devondre and Amari Rogers so far.
I'll tell you what, I love the USA Today Network channel on YouTube, Brett.
Yeah.
We have all our stuff on there. And to me, it's kind of the easiest way to go if you're anyway, because YouTube has a great app. I suppose you could also watch it on Facebook too, but Yeah, just tune in on YouTube, if anything. Menasha's up 7-0 over Sheboygan North. Brett, and Oshkosh West is trailing Oshkosh North 14-0 at the half. Just trying to find some of these other scores. I'll have to go on YouTube, Brett, and see some of these games here. Which one are we missing here that you wanted to know about, BC?
Well, let's think about that FEL.
Oh.
Luxembourg-Casco game was
okay.
a game of interest.
Luxembourg-Casco does have
And Appleton
a
East
feed.
and Kaukauna as well.
Okay.
By the way, former Kimberly head coach Steve Jones is here tonight. I can see him. He's actually down in the field hanging out with the team a little bit. Maybe giving them some words of inspiration here. What a run Coach Jones had at Kimberly. I see now he just kind of headed out of the gate and into the darkness. Hopefully he comes back. But 5 state championships in a row, 70-game win streak, 6 straight state championship game appearances. Incredible run of success here at Kimberly High School under Steve Jones. And now handing the baton to Chad Michaelwitz, the former De Beer coach, and so far so good for the Papermakers. Really haven't missed a beat. And right now up 3 scores, looking to get back to their winning ways are the Papermakers, up 17-0 as we look at our Cellcom and Cooney's Embroidery and Sportswear scoreboard. The first half scoring, a pair of touchdown runs by Blake Berry, a 5-yard run with 3:38 to play in the first quarter, and then a 1-yard run on 4th and goal with 11:18 to go in the second quarter. Those are the 2 touchdowns scored by Kimberly. And then Hunter Berry, no relation.
No relation, different, spell different.
Yep, a 26-yard field goal with 8:47 to play in the second quarter, and that's where we stand, 17-0, Kimberly with the lead. Again, we're back at it next Friday night for Week 9. We'll be at J.J. Keller Field at Titan Stadium down in Oshkosh. Looking forward to that one, actually, Week 9 regular season finale. Looking forward to seeing Oshkosh North. We've seen Appleton North now a few times. I know Oshkosh North has some talent.
They've been playing better, so
yeah.
much better since the beginning of the year. I think they might still be fighting for – it depends on what – well, they're going to beat Oshkosh West today. If they win against Oshkosh West, they might still have a shot at a playoff berth. Now, they'll be one of those, like, 3-3 teams or whatever because they have a tie.
Right.
So that very important win for them tonight and another big game for them going into next week.
So that's a pretty sizable game at Titan Stadium in Appleton North. If the Lightning end up falling to Fond du Lac, could be a big game just to kind of reverse course getting into the postseason and play for playoff seeding and all that stuff. So, yeah, looking forward to that one. We're going to be at Titan Stadium. Live coverage will kick off at 6:45 p.m. Don't forget, of course, you can access our previous Game of the Week live streams on our USA Today Network Wisconsin websites. All you got to do is go to the sports section and scroll down until you see the Watch Our Varsity Game of the Week Prep live streams link. Ricardo, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
You're Steve Young, the head coach of the Neenah Rockets. What do you tell the team? Because you start the second half with the football. Now, there have been some sparks. There have been some moments where they've been able to move the ball, but too many miscues. I think have really plagued the Rockets here in the first half, not to mention a really good Kimberly defense.
I would say the slate's clean. We're down 3 scores. Let's tackle this drive by drive, play by play, because really you can't put the cart before the horse in this one. They've been outplayed. Let's just put it out there what it is, okay? But the great thing about football is you're only as good as your last play, right? So you have a whole half to kind of correct things. You're a team that's been really efficient on offense. I would like to see more production out of the pass game. I know the run game's solid. You're gonna have to have a mix of both if you want to come back. And if I'm Kimberly, no mistakes. You can't have mistakes. You can't blow into defensive assignment. It's got to be one of those things where the mental game kind of comes into play more so than the physical game.
No turnovers, right, to take care of the ball. Because you know they're going to be a steady diet if you're Kimberly of Blake Berry, Gavin Tyson. Really don't need to put it up in the air right now when you're up 3 scores. However, I still think the game plan stays for the Rockets. I don't think they have to get away from that running game because we've seen that rushing attack. All of a sudden they get into a rhythm and they're just boom, boom, chunk play after chunk play, and they can get back into this game in a hurry.
I think the pass game for Neenah needs to really be kind of go hand in hand with the run game. In my opinion, I don't think they can use the run game this entire half and get back into the game. They're going to have to hit some pass plays. I think they can do that. They certainly have the receivers, Brett. You mentioned Schloman. You know, they have Dean, who's a terror in the perimeter. They can do it. It's just a matter of executing and not having silly plays, silly penalties that short-circuit drives.
I guess the reason why I think they can stick with the run game is because Jace Jenkins is a home run threat. He gets out in the open, and he'll take it to the house fast. But you're right. Maybe mix in a little bit of a screen game if they can. But I think that Kimberly defense, we talked about it towards the end of the first half, really focusing very heavily on Evan Van Evenhoven and not letting the quarterback gash you with his legs. So third quarter about to get underway here at Papermaker Stadium. Not only did I just see Steve Jones walk back into the press box, he was followed closely by Steve Jorgensen. They were at one time, right? When
wow.
Steve Jorgensen was, he's now an assistant for the Rockets, but he was the head coach here. He's the one who really put the foundation and built this program up. 2 state championships that Jorgensen led Kimberly back in the day, and I know Steve Jones was an assistant on that staff. A lot of ties, right, between all of these coaches, it seems like. Kimberly getting ready to kick off to open the second half, and it's going to bounce on that turf. Oh, watch out, good hands. And a good decision by number 12 for the Rockets. That was Will St. Clair, just falling on it and making sure it didn't bounce much farther back. That was actually a pretty good play by St. Clair just to save it, because you know the Papermakers, Ricardo, looking to kind of skip it down the turf. Instead, Neenah going to get in a pretty good field position at its own 30-yard line to start this second half.
Hate to sound cliche, but this drive's very important, Brett, for the Rockets here. They get a touchdown, they're right back in this one.
Absolutely.
No problem.
Well, it's always the adjustments, right, and then the adjustments to the adjustment as Jace Jenkins spinning his way forward for 2 or 3 yards. Looks like a 2-yard pickup.
10 carries, 39 yards now for Jenkins, Brett.
Again, one of the state's top rushers. He entered tonight's action 8th in the state, all divisions, with just a touch over 1,100 yards. 18 rushing touchdowns as well.
Yeah, they're going to need this offensive line to really kind of set tempo. Lawrence Rio, big old Blake Dietzen out there, Owen Grotenhuis. These are guys that need to take command here.
There's Jenkins taking the direct snap, and he's got the first down and a little bit more in front of that Kimberly bench.
11-yard gain for Jenkins, Brett.
And ball is going to be at the 43-yard line, 1st and 10 for Neenah. So 2 runs, first down.
Brett, Appleton North 14, Fond du Lac 13.
Yep.
At the half, so they must have scored late in the second quarter.
That's a good game at Paul Engen Field. See if that Lightning offense can kind of round into form as we get.
Yeah, they're one of the biggest question marks left.
Yeah. There's Jenkins again. Good tackle there by, I think that was number 49 for Kimberly, Brody Beck, the junior linebacker, getting in there. Jenkins to the 46-yard line. So 2nd and 7 coming up for Neenah. Or check that 40 at the 46-yard line. 2nd down coming up for the Rockets. And a snap right to Jenkins, nowhere to go. And boy, they were all over that, led by number 95, Braxton Roeder, the senior defensive lineman, Ricardo.
Yeah, Kimberly way too disciplined to try to do those kind of cutback things. They like to stay in their lanes and make sure there's none of that going on, because obviously Jenkins can take it to the house. He's quite the directional runner. He can take it to the house from anywhere on the field.
Looks like a 2-yard loss, going to move the ball back to the 44-yard line. Here it is, 3rd and 9 coming up. And a big moment for this Rockets offense. Taking a long time to get to the line of scrimmage. And you can see the back judge, Ricardo, he's counting.
Yeah, they're going to have to call timeout.
Yeah, I think they had to. That took way too long.
Timeout, Neenah.
Way too long. So the Rockets burning a quick timeout. Looking at the Neenah schedule, they beat De Pere in week 1, 46-7. Follow that up with a nice victory over a very good Menasha squad, 35-13. Then they took down Oshkosh West, 48-18. Fond du Lac, 38-20. Appleton North, 21-10. Oshkosh North, 42-20. And then last week, 35-17 over Kaukauna for the Papermakers. Started out the season with 6 straight wins at Spash, 48-13. Then DeForest, 49-zip. Oshkosh North, 42-7. Appleton North, 17-zip. Appleton East, 42-13. Oshkosh West, 41-21. And then falling to Fond du Lac last week, 31-21. 3rd and 9 for the Rockets. Ball at the 44-yard line. So we'll see what Steve Young and crew have dialed up for this very, very big play coming up. And a little step through Van Evenhoven. He's on the run, trying to get around the corner, and it's going to be short by about a yard, maybe 2. Decision time for Steve Young. Good wheels for Van Evenhoven because that Kimberly defense was in the backfield pretty fast. They're going to mark it right at the 50, 4th and 3 coming up, and I think they're going to go for it. You like this call early in the 3rd quarter?
Ooh. Unless they're trying to get them to jump off sides. I don't know. I'm a little more conservative with my play calling, Brett, in a game like this. But, you know, if you have faith in your offense, they can get it done. What a momentum shift it would be if they do get the first down.
Well, let's see what Van Evenhoven has in store. They are going to snap it. Van Evenhoven looking for a seam, and he got it. Well, he dove forward and got it by a yard, and that is a gutsy call. And you can kind of seeing the urgency then on that 4th down and 3 call from midfield right by Steve Young saying, we got to keep the ball. We got to get some points here on this opening drive. Fresh set of downs, ball at the 46-yard line for the Rockets. And how about trusting your sophomore quarterback to make the right read and dive for that first down? Van Evenhoven, nope, direct snap to Jenkins, looking for something. Just not a lot there, Ricardo. And I think Neenah somehow needs to bust a big run here on this drive. Kind of get 2 yards, 3 yards, 5 yards, 2 yards again. The problem is it's going to eat up a lot of time.
Pay attention to those last couple of plays, Brett. They've run very power kind of formations. There's nobody, no receivers wide. You see that? Well, maybe one that's a few yards, but they're keeping it very close to each other to kind of concentrate on that run game.
There's a little reverse action to Dean, who spins his way, still on his feet with another spin move, and finally going to be brought down inside the 35, down to about the 33-yard line. That was a nice little design there for the Rockets, and first down coming.
Again, the Rockets offensive coordinator is Steve Jorgensen, Brett.
Yeah, a little misdirection on that. As you said, everybody bunched together. But you're right. You never know. You kind of lull that defense right into run, and all of a sudden, even with a bunch formation, you can get a guy to release after making that block, kind of disengaging the block and getting open behind the defense. 1st and 10 for Van Evenhoven. He's going to hand it off to Jenkins, powering his way about 5 yards inside the 30 to the 29.
15 carries, 57 yards I have for Jenkins, Brett. But this is a nice drive put together by the Rockets.
Need points. Need a touchdown.
This is the 10th play, Brett, that started at the 30.
Van Evenhoven slapping his hands, waiting, and gives it to Jenkins, who squirts through. Ooh. And Jenkins is off to the races and finally brought down hard by Doucette. And a whole bunch of flags coming after that one. Yeah, 3 flags flying, Ricardo.
Didn't need to do that, and they're going to rightfully penalize him for that. He's a tough player, likes to intimidate, but that was
a little bit of a late hit right by the senior linebacker. But what a run by Jenkins, who right now, where did they spot the ball? Where was
10?
At the 10? And the officials going to talk this one through, figure things out.
Oh, actually, it was marked, what, at the 7 maybe? I'm trying to find out where they marked that.
They don't have the ball down. I don't see where it is, but the official here waiting for the referee to make the call. And it will be a personal foul against the Papermakers. See where the ball ends up. Is that 2 flags? And a third. A couple of unsportsmanlikes negate each other on top of. That was after the personal foul. So both teams getting a little feisty after the big hit by Doucette. And Doucette will be flagged for that, and that will put the ball. Well, I think they're still trying to figure it out. You can hear the Neenah folks booing. I don't think they realize that they still get the personal foul call, though.
Where are they placing that, Brett? I can't even see.
They're going to mark it, Ricardo, at the 3. So unsportsmanlike penalties offset, as we said. The personal foul penalty, that's in play. So after that Jenkins run, and then now the ball at the 3-yard line, Rockets in business here as Van Evenhoven waiting for it, giving it to Jenkins, and he is in for the score. And what a big drive that was for the Rockets to get themselves back into this one. A 3-yard touchdown run by Jenkins. Liam Wasco in for the PAT for the Rockets. And that one is good. As we look at our Cellcom and Cooney's embroidery and sportswear scoreboard, the Rockets on the board after that 3-yard touchdown run by Jace Jenkins. Kimberly with a 17-7 lead. And Ricardo, that's a good response there to start the second half. And remember, that was a big 4th down run by Evan Van Evenhoven near midfield that kept this drive going.
It's true. Just what Neenah needed. They needed to score that touchdown. It was a nice drive. I'm going to count the plays. 11-play drive, Brett, that went 70 yards.
So the Rockets sticking to their run game and sticking to their strength. And now we have a 10-point game, and anybody's game here with 7:28 to play still in this third quarter. We'll see what Kimberly's response is to that 11-play, 70-yard touchdown drive by the Rockets.
Brett, by the way, in that North game, so Ben Isom had his punt blocked by Fond du Lac. That must have led to a Cardinal score. On the second one, his second punt, I'll let you finish this, Brett.
That is number 25 for the Papermakers, Marcus Doucette, sophomore.
There was also a drop snap on the second punt. He somehow raced 79 yards for a touchdown. Isom against the Cardinals. And then, according to Dan Cohn, that swung momentum. North closed the half with a 47-yard touchdown pass from Kreitzer to Caden Pop.
Yeah, that's a good connection. Pop, one of the better receivers in the Fox Valley Association, also a fantastic kicker. What was that game where we saw that
he accounted for all the points?
Yeah.
But he did it twice.
1st and 10, ball at the 37-yard line for Kimberly as Myron wide open. That's Kreider, a far sideline, spinning his way close to a first down. Ethan Kreider, Ricardo, I think that's his first catch of the night, the senior wideout, 6'2", 171 pounds. Looks like ball will be 2nd and 1 at the 47-yard line. So a good start by the Papermakers and a chance for now them to respond to Neenah's scoring drive. It was all Kimberly in the first half. A big 70-yard touchdown march for the Rockets to start the second half. 10-point game here in the third quarter. 2 FVA heavyweights. Kind of the FVA championship here game, I guess you could say, as Jackson Garbish now. He catches one. A couple passes lead to a first down. You look at the Fox Valley Association standings, and Neenah 7-0 or 5-0 in league play. Kimberly 4-1. Neenah trying to win the outright conference championship tonight. Kimberly trying to even things out with one more week to play. 1st and 10 at the Neenah 47. So Ricardo, after a big first half by Blake Berry, now Myron with a couple passes to start the second half. And there's Berry's first touch, diving forward, but not much there.
Well, we talked about how Neenah had really kind of bottled him up in the second quarter. I think, 8 carries for 15 yards or something like that, and he gets 1 yard here.
Yeah, number 9, Aiden Carey, the junior inside linebacker, in on that. Same with Trevor McGinnis, the outside linebacker. 1 yard gain, 2nd and 9. And a handoff to Berry, nothing doing there. How about number 82 for the Rockets, Connor Briones, the outside linebacker. So those linebackers getting in there right now and making it tough for Blake Berry. Here's a big third down. 3rd and 8 at the 45-yard line. Myron waiting for the snap again. Let's see if he goes to the air. He's going to roll out right, looking for a receiver. It's not there. Myron is brought down.
Wow.
And there was a big-time hit. The receiver was going out. I didn't see who that was, but he got kind of stoned on his route. And I think that's where Myron was looking for, the defensive back, playing a little physical out there. And Myron had to kind of bail on it. 4th down coming up. Here comes the punt team.
Yeah, they lost a yard in that. Brett, this is the Neenah defense we've kind of been seeing all year.
A little bit more physical now.
4th and 9 situation, and that brings up the punter.
Yeah, Ethan Kreider doing the punting, looking at Dean and
Look out,
watch
Brad.
out. Oh,
boy.
my goodness. He's going to have to scoop it up and see if he can do something with it. He can't punt it. Whoa, look at this, Ricardo. Kreider brought down. Wow, what a turn of events. What a turn of events here at Papermaker Stadium. Good job by Kreider just to scoop it up, but he had nowhere to go with it. That coverage unit was, they weren't going to let Kreider punt it away. And then look at where the Rockets are going to get this ball at the 27-yard line. We're seeing some crazy snaps tonight.
Oh, Kreider just did a good job just to
get it.
Something out of it.
I mean, the way that ball was skipping along that turf, credit Kreider just to be able to grab it and scoop it up. I thought maybe he had a little bit of an opportunity, but he tucked it and he did the right thing.
Right, he did. And I'll tell you what, people talk about special teams being such an – you're getting a great definition of it right here tonight, Brett. Great opportunity for Neenah, Brett.
And there's Van Evenhoven going to keep it, slithers his way inside the 25 to about the 24-yard line. And now an opportunity, obviously, for the Rockets to pull closer. See how the Kimberly defense responds. The Papermakers need a stop. 3-yard gain for Van Evenhoven. 2nd down and 7 for the Rockets. As little flip to Dean, reading his
Nice
blocks.
block.
Boy, good speed by Dean. Brought down hard, out of bounds by number 22, Thomas Myers, but not before Dean gets the first down. Are we going to call that a little pass? Was that a little flip in front of Van Evenhoven?
It was. I'll tell you what, Brett, also, that was a heck of a block by Jenkins.
Yeah. 1st and goal now at the 7 for the Rockets, and boy, has this game suddenly turned.
Strong formation to the right side there, Brett.
There's Jenkins, and he's trying to bounce it. No, not much there. Might have been Ty Lawton, the senior defensive back, number 2, one of those guys that kind of set the edge. Jenkins nowhere to go. 2nd down and 7. No gain on that play.
They need a touchdown here. You can't work your way all the way down here, Brett, and not get that tutty, as the kids say.
Get those 3 points, right?
Well, I still think that the touchdown for all is the proper capper for all that hard work.
Van Evenhoven claps his hands, gives it to Jenkins, and he's trying to find something. There's no Sam McGivern again, right? Ricardo, number 99, that junior defensive lineman. He gets his big old paws around Jenkins' waist, and he wasn't going to let Jenkins get another yard. So 3rd and goal coming up at the 4.
Yeah, it kind of rode him to the ground a little bit like a rodeo.
Van Evenhoven, he's on the run, looking for a little misdirection. He's
Got
wide
him.
open to the back of the end
Just
zone, but
him.
missed him. He missed him. That was number 83, Ricardo. That was intended for Luke Keller, the junior tight end, and I think you have to bring in your field goal unit.
Well, that was the right play call.
He was there.
He was there, and it's a matter of just connecting on that. But they need to kick this field goal, Brett, and convert this.
Trying to see where they're going to spot this. Looks
Wasco.
like 11 yards, yard line, so a 21-yard field goal attempt coming up for the Rockets. And he gets it to squeeze through. So a 21-yard field goal after the special teams miscue brings this one within 1 touchdown. And as we look at our Cellcom and Cooney's embroidery and sportswear scoreboard, 10 points for the Rockets to open this second half. Remember, it was 17-0 Kimberly at the half. We had the Jace Jenkins 3-yard touchdown run. With 7:28 remaining in the quarter, now the 21-yard field goal by Liam Wasco. And we have a 1-score game here at Kimberly. Boy, that's a big stand by that defense, but you're right, Ricardo. That play was there.
It was, and but you know what? There's plenty of time now with a 1-score game. This is exactly where Neenah wants to be when they were trailing 17-0. You've scored on your 2 possessions. You got the gift with that muffed punt. Now it's a matter of your defense coming through again, Brett.
Right, and I think feeling a lot better about yourselves than maybe you were at halftime there is number 33 with the return, Derek Shally. You're a Kimberly fan in front of us. He's getting into the game.
Tell you from experience, that never works.
I don't think
no
can they
player
hear
on the field is going to get all worked up because of some fan in the stands. It's not going to happen. But collectively, maybe.
He's fired up. He wants to see a little bit more spark here. Let's see what Myron and Blake Berry can do for him. And there's a good run, good start by Berry. About a 4-yard pickup. Ball will be at the 39-yard line. Flag on the play. And it's going to be against Kimberly. Is that going to be a hold? That's going to be the call. A holding penalty will push the Papermakers back 10 yards.
And they're marking it from the 35? Yeah.
Game's flipped, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's going to be marked at the 25 now, Brett. First and 20.
Game has flipped. It was just a dominant first half by the Papermakers, and credit the Rockets for really sticking with the game plan.
They did. Taking advantage of turnovers as well.
Myron waiting for it on 1st and 20 after that hold call, and he's going to drop back. He's got a receiver downfield, and what a catch! In coverage, that's Jack Stotts, the senior, with a huge, huge reception. And what a throw by Myron to really thread the needle there. There was not much room, maybe a sliver. Not sure how he was able to squeeze that one in. But how about 1st and 20 now becoming 1st and 10 in Neenah territory?
I am telling you, I'm not that's the best throw I've seen this year from a high schooler.
Oh.
That thing was on a rope, Brett. Beautifully thrown. I knew it was going to be completed right when he threw it.
I didn't think he had a chance to squeeze it in just because the coverage was so good, but heck of a job by Myron, and he gets rid of it again. Down to Jackson Garbish, coming on an unscheduled throw there. I thought Myron was going to be dropped for a sack, and now look at this. The Papermakers already down to the 6. 1st and goal, the passing game taking over for Kimberly.
Yeah, and if you're the Neenah defense right now, you're shell-shocked a little bit. Now it's about kind of controlling this and maybe getting out of here with a field goal attempt. But back-to-back gains, Brett, of 47 and 21 yards.
Couple nice throws by Myron. Now he's out. Blake Berry in at the Wildcat. He's looking for something, and somehow he was able to avoid the first defender. Looks like he'll be down at the 3. Yeah, that's relying on your senior quarterback, isn't it? Seth Myron, one of the top passers in the Fox Valley Association. Boy, what a throw. I'm still thinking about that throw to Stotts. Not like he was wide open.
Very impressive.
2nd and goal at the 3. Myron now back in, and he's going to hand it off to Barry, looking for, nope, he's going to be down near the goal line. Barry with already 2 touchdown runs on the night, and looking like, Ricardo, that's going to be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Boy, what a 3rd quarter it was, and what a game we have brewing at Papermaker Stadium with 12 minutes still to play. We got a ball game, 17-10, Papermakers on top as we look at our Cellcom and Cooney's embroidery and sportswear scoreboard. I'll use the quarter break to again plug our digital subscription deal to the Post-Crescent and all our USA Today Network Wisconsin websites. For the next 6 months, you get all the benefits included with a digital subscription for just $6. Check that, 6 months for $1. 6 months for $1. Includes full access on your desktop, tablet, and mobile devices every day. Exclusive subscriber newsletters, full access to the USA Today Sports Plus app. You also get the e-edition. Go to postcrescent.com/subscribe. You can't go wrong. And as I've said all night long, if you're a high school sports fan, that takes you all the way through the winter season as well. You know there's going to be fantastic high school sports to follow as well. So we'll start the 4th quarter, the final 12 minutes here. Let's play a little overtime tonight. How about that, Ricardo? We'll start the 4th quarter, though, with 3rd and goal from the 1. That's what both the Papermakers offense and the Rockets defense will be facing. Myron not in. Blake Berry will be handling the snap. And I have a feeling that Barry's just going to try to work his way in, and he is from 1 yard out. His second 1-yard score of the game. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns on the night, and a much-needed touchdown for the Papermakers after that big 3rd quarter by the Rockets. You can see fireworks across the way. PAT is good for Hunter Berry. And another check of our Cellcom and Cooney's embroidery and sportswear scoreboard. Papermakers back in front by 2 scores, 24-10, Kimberly lead.
That drive critical with the 2 big pass plays from Myron Brett.
After that holding call.
Yes.
Remember, it was 1st and 20.
I was thinking that might be something that the Neenah defense can take advantage of,
Yeah.
but that wasn't the case. Myron with an absolute dart. And then to complete, well, I think it was their passes of 47 and 19. I'll double check my plays sheet here. 47 and 21. Stotts, is it Stotts? He got the 47. I mean, that was just a gorgeous throw. Again, that's one of the plays of the year to me. Just in the way, you're right, but there was great coverage on that play, and they were able to convert.
Not open by a lot. And good hands and concentration by Stotts with the tight coverage against him. Well, let's see how Neenah can respond now. Neenah got itself back into the game. Let's see if the Rockets can string together a couple of big plays as well. And that ball will go out of the end zone. Good decision by Grant Dean just to let it bounce through. And the Rockets will start this drive on their own 20-yard line. So the 24 points scored tonight, that's the most the Rockets have allowed this season, Ricardo. Twice the Rockets have allowed 20 points to Fond du Lac and then Oshkosh North.
Little Chute leading Wrightstown 28-0. Brett Vandenberg with 3 touchdown passes and 4 total touchdowns. That's from Dustin Reese, who was there, I'm guessing, or maybe he's listening on the radio.
Wow, Mustangs about to win the Northeastern Conference Championship outright. Oh, no, I shouldn't say that. At least a share.
At least a share.
Yep, as Jenkins barrels his way through. I guess it depends on what Freedom's doing tonight. Second down coming up for the Rockets, and obviously a full quarter still to play, but now that urgency needs to kind of maybe zip those plays in a little bit faster, right? Get to the line of scrimmage a little bit faster.
We need to see more production from the pass game. You're not going to be able to, erase 2 touchdown lead, or deficit, I should say, just by running the ball.
Van Evenhoven, watch out, fumble, and Dean falls on it. Definitely some, I don't know if that was miscommunication or what was going on there, but definitely a mess up on the exchange between Van Evenhoven and Dean, and boy, you don't need that if you're the Rockets. 3rd and 11 now after that miscue. Sawyer Hanlon, number 90, that sophomore defensive lineman for the Papermakers, looking towards the bench, wanting a little extra juice. Is Van Evenhoven, little pump fake.
Got him.
Rainbows.
He's got him.
Down the sideline, and good coverage by number 34 against number 2. That was Jackson, or I think that was Jace Jenkins, maybe on a wheel route.
Yeah, it was a wheel route coming out of the backfield. Brett, I thought that was a nice pass. I thought Jenkins was there. But you're right, Brett. It was good coverage, so kudos to the Kimberly D.
Number 34, I think it was Connor Schiesel, the senior linebacker, going step for step with Jace Jenkins. And how about that for a 3-and-out by this Papermakers defense? Now a chance, assuming that it's a good, clean handle on the punt, a chance to really take command again. Good job by Ty Lawton to field that one. Kimberly will have it at the 48-yard line.
Critical defensive stand here, Brett. If you go down 3 scores with this much time remaining, that's going to be tough to overcome. So you need a big defensive play, force a turnover, or at least a minimum 3-and-out.
Myron just going to hand off to Barry. Oh, wow. Big first down run. Big hole up front by the big guys in the trenches. And already in Neenah territory, ball will be at the 41-yard line. Boy, when Barry takes it, he seems like he accelerates to full speed, like 2 steps into his run.
26 carries, 145 yards I have for Blake Barry, Brett.
First and 10 for the Papermakers. Now up 2 scores, Ricardo. Really in no hurry, right?
No.
You take your time, and he's handing that ball off to Barry and see if that Rocket defense can try to stop. Fumble! Fumble. I think Kimberly landed on it. Wow.
Was that Barry on the run?
It was Barry on the run. I think that's number 24, Johnny on the spot. Gavin Tyson, the junior, falling on it. It was on the turf. So, second down and, 4 at the 35? That nearly the break that Rockets defense was looking for. Instead, Kimberly will keep it. Ooh, wow, another fumble. And Barry, nowhere to go. So, boys, some sloppy play really on both sides. Special teams, some snap issues. Darius Jones Jr., one of the guys there to fall on Barry. Same with Trevor McGinnis, number 24. And that'll back the Papermakers up to the 39-yard line, Ricardo. I've never seen a game with so many snap issues. At least
I agree.
Nothing in recent memory.
It's definitely a head-scratcher. But this helps Neenah. Now it's 3rd and long, Brett. They have any hopes of rallying. They need to stop them here.
See if Myron goes to the air here, and he's going to fire it. And nice catch. Oh, big hit. But what a grab by Jackson Garbish, Ricardo. Not only just making a great catch, but he took a big shot there. That ball could have been knocked out.
Neenah's playing. I'm not sure why they're playing such soft coverage. But, Garbish really didn't have anyone around him, Brett, until he got hit.
Boy, the passing game really coming up big here for Kimberly in this kind of this response to what Neenah was able to do in the third quarter, pull within a touchdown. Some nice throws and some nice catches. Myron's really been pinpoint, and you've seen Stotts and Garbish and Kreider and coming up with some big plays. That was a big third down conversion, 1st and 10 for the Papermakers. And it looks like Kimberly wants to talk things over here before this first down snap. So both teams will have 2 timeouts remaining as we look at our Cellcom and Cooney's Embroidery and Sportswear scoreboard. Kimberly will be here next Friday night for the regular season finale. Papermakers taking on the rival Ghosts of Kaukauna. Battle for K-Town. Neenah will be at Appleton East to close out the regular season. And you know what? You know what's going to happen next week at this time, Ricardo? You're going to be staying up all night long.
I can't, because it looks like the WIA is having a reveal show
at
are they 10 a.m.
Really?
Yes. It's going to be on Bally.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so no information will be released, I guess. Not only that, I think they're not allowing WIS Sports to release the information. Because I think Travis Wilson is part of the reveal show.
Is that right?
Yes.
Boy,
so
really
I guess I get to go.
Doing this up now, huh?
So I guess I get to go to bed at my normal hour of 3 a.m.
I did not hear that news. So what are we going to do? Reveal shows on the high school level now?
Yes,
Come on.
On Bally, known for gambling. I don't know. I think that's a bad look.
Interesting. Well, then we're going to find out on Saturday. Ooh, Jace Jenkins nowhere to go.
Blake Berry.
Or I'm sorry, Blake Berry, my mistake. That was a good job there that was number 66 again for the Rockets. Eric Schaufelberger.
Always active, that kid.
Yeah, senior defensive lineman. By the way, brand new turf at Papermaker Stadium this year. Looks good.
Oh, out here?
Yeah, brand new turf field this year.
It'd been a while.
I think they replaced
it.
the original turf finally this off season, and yeah, looks good. Second down. And about 12 to go. Ball on the 28-yard line. And Myron gonna
wide
open. Wow, good catch and a good throw. Fumble. And what do we have here?
Oh, that's a fumble.
That is a fumble. I believe the official kind of not.
No, that's a fumble.
Or are they saying he was down?
No, they're saying it's a fumble.
And it is. Okay.
It was to Isaac Deckent.
Yeah, that was a good little play call. And Deckent really took a good shot there, didn't he?
He did.
And that pops through. And the Rockets get a much-needed turnover defensively. Kind of waiting for that one official that was there to make the call. And
So
it finally is made. 1st and 10 now at the Neenah 9-yard line.
That was a tough Kimberly drive. 3 fumbles in a span of 6 plays. 1st and 10. Where do they mark this? At the
9-yard line. So, Ricardo, here you go. And there's a little razzle-dazzle. Jenkins hands off
Yep,
to Dean.
got him.
Watch out. Dean's off to the races. Can he outrun that Kimberly defense? Finally brought down. Wow, what a chase by Doucette. How did Doucette chase down Dean, Ricardo? I thought he was gone.
No, Doucette can fly.
Wow, sprinter
And
speed, both guys.
That's got to shock Dean because he's one of the quicker guys in the conference.
Boy, that was a nice little play design there because actually it was Jace Jenkins then who handed it off to Dean, and already at the 26-yard line. I thought Dean was gone. Well, credit Doucette with a touchdown-saving pursuit there and finally bringing Dean down.
So that was a reverse? Is that what that was?
Not sure if I'd call it a reverse, just a little kind of a double handoff.
Okay.
And now Jenkins has it.
65 yards on that Dean carry then, Brett.
I still can't believe he didn't make it to the end zone. I thought he was gone.
Ball's marked at the 23.
A lot of time left here. Still 6 minutes to play.
.21 carries, 90 yards for Jenkins, Brett.
Ethan Doucette, the senior linebacker. Ricardo, 6'1", 225 pounds of sprinter speed. One of your Elite 11.
Yes, along with Jenkins.
Yeah, football players. Whoa, watch out, another bobble snap. Van Evenhoven, he's going to have to throw it away. Nope, he's not. Wow, good pursuit there. And guess who again? Sam McGivern, who's been wreaking havoc along that defensive front all night long for the Papermakers. Just a junior. That's the situation, Ricardo, where a little bit of a bobble snap. And I think if you're Van Evenhoven, you got to try to get out on a run, just throw it out of bounds.
3rd and 13, loss of 6 on that sack, Brett. McGivern again, every time we do a Kimberly game, he seems to be making some big plays.
Yeah, all over the place. Ball at the 29-yard line for Van Evenhoven and the Rockets. And now Jenkins, nobody was fooled there. I was fooled, but Sawyer Hanlon wasn't. Number 90, the sophomore defensive lineman. And this Rockets series after that Dean run is going backwards. Ricardo, that Doucette play, that's a big kind of a turning point, I would say.
So, because I agree with you. When I saw Dean hit that hole and there was nothing but green in front of him, I thought it was done.
33 now. That ball will be spotted at the 33-yard line. Again, you and I both thought Dean was gone, and Doucette just flying down the field and finally catching Dean. 4th down now for Van Evenhoven. 4th and a long way to go. Going to do a little option game. There's nothing there. Nothing there at all. And that Kimberly defense swarming the Rockets quarterback. Not even sure kind of what was going on there. Didn't look like that play had much going for it, did it?
Gain of 1 yard, and now Kimberly takes over at their own 32, Brett.
A big stop by the Papermakers, and I can't overstate it enough how big that Ethan Doucette chase
Saved
was.
a touchdown.
It did save a touchdown, and now the Papermakers with a 2-score lead and chance to really run out the clock here. That's Blake Berry now going to take the snap, and he's going to hold on to it. Ooh, him and Darius Jones Jr. Ooh. That's a pretty good collision between two excellent players right there.
.30 carries, 147 yards I have for Blake Berry.
30 carries. That's a busy night. I think you'll be a little bit sore after this one.
And he's in the Wildcat here.
Yep. Going to take that direct snap, waiting for it again. And he's just going to go. In a big hole. Watch out. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Now, can he be caught? Nope. He's going to score. And that, Ricardo, is a 66-yard run. Is that what you have?
I have it as well.
Fourth touchdown of the night for Blake Berry.
31 carries, 213 yards.
And that might be the clincher. Off to the races. 4 touchdown runs of the night for Blake Berry. Wasn't going to be caught on that touchdown. Hunter Berry with the PAT. And as we look at our Cellcom and Cooney's Embroidery and Sportswear scoreboard, Kimberly with a commanding 31-10 lead with just 3:11 to play. That's the knockout blow right there. And as Berry was running to the end zone, I saw number 74, Ben Youngworth, the senior offensive lineman. He was running down the field. He was maybe at about the 20-yard line, and he had his hand in the air. He knew that nobody was going to catch
Well, not just
Blake
that.
Berry.
I like Seth Myron was also in near side as a receiver, and he was, trying to hold off the last Neenah defender, which I believe was number 5. Rajot, did I say that right?
Rajat, yeah.
So see that Myron had some speed too. Little Chute leads Wrightstown now 34-7. Another touchdown for Vandenberg.
Jeez, having a big night. So was Blake Berry. Touchdown runs of 5, 1, 1, and now 66 yards.
But you're right, Brett. Again, you called it. That Doucette touchdown saving tackle led to that.
That might have been a 14-point swing right there, right?
Yes.
I mean, that ball's going to scoot out of bounds. Yeah, and seeing Blake Berry taking those direct snaps out of the Wildcat is proved effective against a very good Neenah defense. I mean, you look at it, Ricardo, if Grant Dean isn't caught, it's probably 24-17 right now.
Right.
Instead, he's caught, and then the Kimberly defense holds, and then a few moments later, off to the races is Blake Berry for his 4th rushing touchdown of the game, 66 yards to put this one away. And it looks like we're going to have to wait another week to figure out who's going to win the FBA championship. Maybe these two teams will share it. And if that's indeed how it all plays out, and we'll see how all these schools are kind of slotted, which direction they're going to go. But if these two teams are in the same pod or whatever you want to call it, then Kimberly's going to get the top seed, aren't they? Just based on the head-to-head.
Well, yes, exactly. I know Bayport's beating here.
I guess it depends on what's going on up there and how that's,
I gave Neenah the first place vote in the AP poll that was originally Kimberly. I might have to give it to Bayport now.
Bayport might get the top seed, you're right.
Yes.
Because we'll see what happens next week against West De Pere. The Pirates have a huge game against the Phantoms. That's going to determine the FRCC North Championship. Presumably both teams will be 8-0 going into that one. So it's a possibility, and West De Pere's got some big-time offense that, Najee Mitchell, one of your Elite 11s, he's one of the stars of the Phantoms. That's not there's no such thing as a gimme for the Pirates in that one.
Hey, Dean going off, limping a little bit. 6-yard gain for Dean on that, 1st down and 10. Final 2 minutes now in this game.
Jace Jenkins now, the direct snap to him. You can see kind of a giddy sideline in front of us, the Kimberly sideline. Fans ringing those cowbells here tonight as well. Got interesting there in the third quarter, didn't it? got to be within 17 to 10 after that field. That was a big stop, holding also Kimberly or Neenah out of the end zone, Ricardo, as the Rockets had to settle for a field goal. Couldn't punch that one in. Could have been a 3-score game. Van Evenhoven, ooh, he's going to rainbow one, and just nothing there.
There's a flag also in the backfield. It is a hold against Neenah.
So what you got cooking after this one tonight?
Well, going to talk to obviously Young from Neenah, then I'm guessing Doucette and Blake Berry on offense from Kimberly, as well as Coach. Oh boy, why do I always struggle with this? Michaelwitz.
You always want to say Mickelcap.
I do, Michaelwitz. And this was a big win for Kimberly. Let me tell you right now, because you kind of wondered what were they going to do after a loss like that. They got punched in the mouth last week against Fondy. They come back and put their best performance. Even though they had some fumbles here too, it wasn't perfect, but it was their best performance of the year.
Remember, it's been since 05 since the Papermakers have lost back-to-back games, so that streak remains intact after this one as Jenkins now reverses course. And I have a feeling somehow, some way, we're going to might see these two teams play again, right, in the playoffs potentially.
I think that's a fair prediction.
I guess it all depends on where everybody's going. Does Neenah go south?
That's for the WIA to determine, I guess, and the HAL 9000 computer, who determines the pods, right? It determines who's in and then who's playing where.
Ricardo, whether it's football or boys and girls basketball, I don't really care how it's determined. Just show me the brackets, and then we'll figure it out from there, right? Show me the brackets.
Show me the brackets.
So I can set my live stream schedule up, because we will be streaming all 4 rounds of the playoffs. Little Shoot Freedom is another game that they could meet in the playoffs down the line too. And I think that might be a fun rematch, but we'll see. That's for another day, and that's for Week 8. That's the game. Zeros across the board. The Papermakers with the 31-10 victory over the Rockets in this big Fox Valley Association showdown as we look at our Cellcom and Cooney's Embroidery and Sportswear scoreboard. And thoughts on the Rockets, Ricardo? Now that's their first loss of the season, and how do they bounce back? You kind of talked about Kimberly a little bit.
See, these are the kind of games so far that Neenah has been winning, kind of to get that monkey off their back. They beat Fond du Lac, they beat Appleton North, right? But the one last giant in their way was Kimberly. They didn't get it done tonight. Way too many mistakes. Way too many mistakes for the Rockets to think that they could win this game against a team like this. Now, mistakes are correctable, right? But one thing they got to shore up, though, is those mental mistakes as well. And I'd like to see more from the passing game. And I love this Van Evenhoven. I really do. I think he's going to be a great player. Right now, the passing game for Neenah is not at the level of Kimberly, and let's be brutally honest, right? Kimberly's passing offense, when they needed it to function,
they had some big plays.
Some huge pass plays. And that's what's missing from the Neenah Rockets right now. They can run the ball as well as anybody in the state, but they got to get they got to get the passing game to balance out the offense.
Well, it will be interesting to see as the Papermakers are going to celebrate to our left. That's the north end zone. They're going to have a good homecoming tonight. All is not lost for the Rockets, though. Still a chance to sew up a share of that conference championship next week.
Right, and for Kimberly, Brett, character win here. You go down and take it on the chin against Fond du Lac, another big rival of yours. You come back and you play your best game of the year, outside of the few turnovers. This is what Michaelwitz, did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Wants to see. This is what he expects. That's what the seniors expect. Again, I'm going to talk to Doucette. He had, in my opinion, one of the biggest plays of the game. And then Blake Berry in that game, the run game. And then Seth Myron. You see the 3 elements there big. The defense, the run game, the pass game all came up big for them.
Well, I think not only were the eyes of the Fox Valley on Kimberly, but the eyes of the state were on Kimberly tonight, seeing how the Papermakers would respond. And they certainly answered the call by winning 31-10 tonight. So congratulations to Kimberly. Now a chance maybe for both teams to potentially share the conference championship next week. We'll see how that all plays out. But for now, Week 8 is in the books. And check out Ricardo's, you have Appleton school coverage, Appleton North, East, West, FVL, and Xavier for one story, and then kind of the
And then this will lead my Fox Valley.
The Fox Valley look. So, and those are all subscriber-only pieces of content. So get on that right now, postcrescent.com/subscribe.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Rosie. We'll see you this week.
We'll do it again, right? Fun time of year for all of us. As Ricardo, are you okay there, my friend? I hear things thumping and falling. I was making sure it wasn't your head falling against the floor. Let's run down the scoring before we sign off and put a capper on Week 8. Kimberly got on the scoreboard first. A 5-yard touchdown run by Blake Berry with 3:38 to play in the first quarter. Made it 7-0 Papermakers. And then Kimberly again with a Blake Berry touchdown run on 4th and goal from the 1 with 11:18 to play in the second quarter. Kimberly up 14-0. And then a 32-yard field goal, or I checked that, a 26-yard field goal by number 32, Hunter Berry, with 8:47 to play, made it 17-0 Kimberly, and that's where we stood at the half. All third quarter for the Rockets, a 3-yard touchdown run by Jace Jenkins with 7:28 to play, made it 17-7 Kimberly. That capped an 11-play, 70-yard drive and was really triggered by a 4th down run by Evan Van Evenhoven near midfield. Neenah was able to keep the ball and then ultimately put it across the end zone for its first score of the night. And then a 21-yard field goal by number 18, Liam Wasco, with 2:33 to play in the third quarter. Made it 17-10 Kimberly. And then it was all Papermakers in the fourth quarter. A 1-yard touchdown run by Blake Berry with 11:57 to go in the fourth. And then Berry with the clincher, a 66-yard sprint to the end zone with 3:11 to play in the game. And that's where it all closed out, 31-10, Kimberly with the victory. With the win, Kimberly improves to 7-1 overall, 5-1 in Fox Valley Association play. The Papermakers are home against Kaukauna next Friday night in a Fox Valley Association regular season finale. Kickoff is scheduled for 7 p.m. As for the Rockets, their first loss of the season, they fall to 7-1 overall, 5-1 in FVA play. So Neenah and Kimberly both tied at 5-1 atop the conference standing, so a chance for both of them to close out the season with victories and finish with a share of the conference title. The Rockets will be at Appleton East next Friday. That, too, is a Fox Valley Association matchup. Kickoff is scheduled for 7 p.m. As I have mentioned throughout the webcast, we will be at J.J. Keller Field at Titan Stadium next Friday night for a Week 9 showdown between Oshkosh North and Appleton North. Live coverage for us will kick off at 6:45 p.m. Thanks again to our sponsors, Cellcom. Don't need unlimited data. Smart data plans from Cellcom offer unlimited talk, text, and 3 gigabytes of data for just $29 per month. Visit cellcom.com/fall for details. And Cooney's Embroidery and Sportswear. They have the skills and experience to customize your apparel and spread the word about your organization. Contact them today at 920-731-0922 or send them an email at Cooney, COONEYS 0922 at sbcglobal.net. So for Ricardo and the crew, for Ricardo and Rosie and the crew with USA Today Network Wisconsin, I'm Brett Christopherson signing off from Papermaker Stadium here in Kimberly, Wisconsin. Once again, the final score tonight in this FVA Week 8 showdown, Kimberly 31, Neenah 10. Thanks for watching, everybody.